before I say anything, look at this image and notice what feels off. We're surrounded by images now that didn't exist a moment before they appeared on a screen. And most of the time, we don't stop to ask where they came from. These images don't live in one place. They're everywhere people scroll, share, shop, and react. So before we talk about how to spot them, it helps to understand just how many there are. Over the last few years, researchers have tried to quantify what's actually happening. Since 2022, estimates suggest more than 15 billion AI-generated images have been created across major platforms. To put that in perspective, traditional photography took more than a century to reach a similar scale. AI systems reached it in about a year and a half. Right now, roughly 34 million new AI images are generated every single day. That pace is still increasing. When people are shown real photos and AI-generated images side by side, they correctly tell the difference about half the time. That's essentially chance. A lot of what shows up in our feeds is harmless, creative, or even fun. And when tools get this powerful, not everyone uses them responsibly. Once you know where to look, certain details start to stand out. And the good news is, this is something you can easily learn with practice. So let's look at a few and start building that instinct together. At first glance, this looks completely normal. But when I look a little further, I notice something. The man in the middle has 2 thumbs. That's not subtle, but it's easy to miss because once your brain decides these are college students, it stops double checking. Let's move on to another thing that I happen to notice, this coffee cup over here. You see this area down here underneath? I feel like there's supposed to be a shadow there, and it looks like it's just been pasted right on there, like a bad Photoshop job. Let's move on to the next one. So this image has a few hidden giveaways. First of all, the DVDs. When you zoom in on these DVDs, you can see that what is supposed to be a title is just plain gobbledygook. It's just something that looks like text when you zoom out. Another thing I noticed that was really odd about this image is that when you zoom in here, you don't even really have to zoom in, but I'm going to anyway because the curtains right here are just absolutely perfect, and that just doesn't seem normal to me. Curtains are all over the place, and that's just how they're supposed to be. This looks too perfect, like it's missing some shadows, that sort of thing. The thing that really stuck out to me the most, the people in the photographs. If you zoom in, you can see there's some elements that are a little weird here. So here we have a suburban image, and my first clue that this is not a real photograph is the ADT sign. Because when you zoom in, you'll see that is not an ADT sign. It doesn't have words on it at all. Not to mention, the edges are too smooth. You would expect them to be sharper. And the hole is also a little wonky. It's not a straight hole. Like there's this little weird part right here that doesn't look natural. And that's just this part. Now, when you scroll over to the cereal box, you'll see it's also got a bunch of nonsense on it. It's not cohesive. The text is just blurry or completely ripped off. All the text is just blurred out. It just doesn't look right. Not even the barcode looks right. Not to mention the trash bag situation here. Here we have this trash can that tipped over. The trash bags are perfectly shut, yet there is trash on the ground next to it, which makes 0 sense. Once you notice one thing, the whole story collapses. Let's move on to the last one. This one is hard. Honestly, I'm sure it would pass for most people, but there are two clues that stand out to me. For one thing, if you look at the background, you can see how evenly blurred it is all the way around. That is more like a Photoshop layer and less like depth of field. Second of all, you see how the wolf's feet are all perfectly covered. It lacks naturalness to it. It's too even. And that tells me right away that something is off. This isn't about winning or catching everything. It's more about knowing when your brain stops asking questions. The moment something feels familiar, beautiful, or authoritative, it's the very moment it matters most to slow down. Remember, the most important journalist in your life is you. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.